Today I'm behind the wheel of a brand new and redesigned 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. 2022 is the start of a new generation and everything has been modified, changed, or improved with this new Pathfinder. Starting with the outside, exterior look is very different, more truck-like, more square, it's not round anymore. Inside cabin, wow, big upgrade. The fit and finish, the look, the technology has been upgraded substantially, and also the drivetrain has been improved as well. It's the same engine, but CVT transmission has been thrown out. Now, there is a brand new 9-speed automatic, and it definitely changes how this Pathfinder feels on the road. So, how good is this brand new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder? Let's go for a drive and find out. All right, I'm behind the wheel. Let's see how good this brand new Pathfinder is, and let me tell you more about how it drives. First off, let me tell you a little bit about the outside and the inside, some of the big changes that you'll find with this new Pathfinder. Starting with the outside, it's pretty obvious. This new generation looks nothing like the old generation. Finally, the Pathfinder gets a brand new look. And I do like this look. I think it's a lot better than the previous Pathfinder, mostly because it's more square, more in line with the Nissan trucks like the Frontier and the Titan. And it makes this look more like a masculine SUV rather than a feminine crossover. So if you look at the front end, you have that very distinctive and large Nissan V-Motion grille. Obviously, you do see the chrome on the outside and black in the inside of the very big emblem, and you have those very unique looking LED daytime running lights and LED lights on both sides. So the front end is definitely a lot more aggressive, and I like it. And it looks nothing like the previous Pathfinder. Moving to the side of the Pathfinder and to the rear, you'll see more of the same thing. Everything is just more squared off, more edges, more creases. And it looks more like a traditional SUV rather than a crossover, even though this is a crossover. And the back looks really unique because of those really stylish LED tail lamps. I really like it. It's sleek, and there's that crossbar that connects both sides, and it just looks good. Nothing about this Pathfinder from outside reminds me of the last generation. And that includes the 20-inch wheels that you see here, brand new, very distinct, for this platinum trim. And if you look carefully, there's a lot of cameras around. One in the front grille, a couple under the mirrors, and one in the back. And I'll show you what that's used for in a little bit. But this Pathfinder is equipped with all the latest gadgets. Now, of course, with this platinum trim, which is the upper trim level to this Pathfinder, you do get power liftgate. That's pretty standard. Also, 3 rows of seats in the back. You can see even behind the third row seat, there's a good amount of cargo room, but there's a lot of hidden storage underneath, which is great for groceries or whatever else you want to put back there. Now, in most 3-row SUVs, there's usually a couple of switches in the back that folds down the third row and second row. You don't get that with this Pathfinder, which is surprising because this is the upper trim level. So to fold down the third row, there's a couple levers on the seat backs. It's pretty easy to fold down, but the second row, that's where it's inconvenient. You have to go to the front and fold down each one separately. I wish there was a couple of switches that's back here that would automatically do so. But as you can see, once you fold down the third row and the second row, you have an enormous amount of cargo room. Every seat back is folded flat, and yeah, there's a lot of space. Now moving inside, because it's a platinum trim, you do get this very nice semi-aniline leather throughout, and this one happens to be in tan color, so it does give this interior some pop. There's some contrast, and I really love it. This one is also equipped with 2 captain chairs, but there is a center console in the middle, and that's good and bad. It really depends on if you want that maneuverability, which you don't get because of the center console. A lot of families love to have captain chairs because it's very easy for the kids or anyone else to get into a third row or get into second row, right? Unfortunately, that console kind of removes that option. However, Nissan thought about this and designed their seats to be very convenient. So if you press this button down here, you'll see that it not only tilts up, but folds forward, so even if you had car seats, it'll still do so. And you can see there's a lot of room to get in the third row, which is really nice. However, if you're an adult like me, you'll find it very uncomfortable in the third row. The seats are fairly high off the ground, but there is just not enough leg room. So it's really reserved for kids. But in the back, you still do get a couple cup holders. You get a USB port. Also, you get vents on top. So it's actually nicely equipped. It's not very spacious. And to get out, there's another button on the seat back. You simply press that and the seat folds forward once again. The second row is where the Pathfinder really shines. First of all, it's stadium seating in the second row. So you are definitely sitting well above the driver and the passenger, so you do get an elevated view. And you can see in terms of headroom, I'm 5'10" and I still have about 3 to 4 inches of headroom, which is nice. Also for leg room, same thing, about 3 to 4 inches. I wouldn't say it's the most spacious second row, but it's definitely comfortable and it's plenty big for most adults. Now you do have climate control. Also you have vents on top and heated seats inside this platinum trim, as well as sunshades on both sides. And of course, there's plenty of USB ports and a 12V outlet. Now moving up front, it's even more comfortable than the second row. It's just strange that the seats up here is actually lower than the second row. So when you get in, it's actually very easy to get in. In fact, for me, I felt like, wow, this is actually a really low midsize SUV. So it does seem like you're sitting lower than most midsize SUVs out there, but it does make it very easy for people on the shorter side to get in and out of. And these seats are absolutely fantastic. Not only do they look very good, and I mentioned about that already, but they feel very good. Just the right amount of support, and the comfort level is outstanding. Nissan is known for zero gravity seats. Seats are designed in conjunction with NASA, think about that, to make sure that the pressure points and everything about your seating position is just right and less fatigue, and it's really working. Even with the jacket, sometimes with the jacket, it's uncomfortable, but it's just really nice. It's really nice. So let me tell you a little bit more about other things that are nice up here, starting with the visibility. I mean, Nissan did a really good job to make sure, even though the new front end, the new hood looks very big and masculine, but they made sure to make the hood slope down. So visibility is fantastic out front. Windshield is really, really big, so that's fantastic. Also side windows, rear window, also pretty good. And the blind spot isn't bad either. So overall visibility is good. The only one complaint I have is the third row. The headrests are really big. I don't know why. Nissan made headrests of the third row extremely big. So with all three up right now, they do block my visibility quite a lot. But I don't know why. Those headrests are even bigger than the headrests in the second row. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But that's the only complaint that I have. But overall, yeah, visibility is good. Now, something else that's fantastic that I just have to talk about right now is this drive, mostly because of this new transmission. This brand new 9-speed transmission completely changes how this Pathfinder feels on the road, even with the same engine, in a really good way. Trust me, I know, because I had a 2017 Nissan Pathfinder for about 3 years. I drove that quite a bit, so I know how that CVT feels like. And it's just a frustrating experience at times, right? When you accelerate, it's just very loud. Sometimes it just doesn't behave right. And Nissan has been knocked for that CVT transmission decision for a long time because almost every single car had it. But that has changed with this brand new Pathfinder. This 9-speed acts like an automatic. It shifts when it should, and it does so with no commotion. The shifts are crisp, soft. You don't even notice it, and it's just so much better overall. It feels so much better. It doesn't feel like the previous Pathfinder. It doesn't feel like any other Nissan out there either. So it's a big change, and I really, really love it. If you've driven the previous Pathfinder, you didn't like how the CVT felt, go and test drive this, because you will you will be amazed. You will be impressed because it doesn't feel the same at all, and it's really good. So this engine is still the same from the previous Pathfinder, a 3.5 liter V6 producing about 285 horsepower. It seems slightly underpowered versus competitors, but Nissan did a brilliant job with gearing and with this new transmission, so you never feel like this is bogged down. You never feel like this is underpowered. In fact, 0 to 60 kind of proves that. 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds, which is among the fastest for this class. In fact, faster than, say, the leaders like the Telluride and Palisade. So this is a fantastic setup, and I really, really enjoy it. And it makes this drive just that much more better. And something else that's great is the suspension. Keep in mind, this is the Platinum trim, so it does come with 20-inch wheel standard, which means the sidewall is a little bit thinner than, say, if you had 19-inch wheels or 18-inch wheels. It's comfortable, it's not too stiff, and it doesn't feel mushy either. This Pathfinder doesn't feel like it's top-heavy. Like, even when I'm making turns, I mean, it's not exciting to make turns. It's not a really stiff suspension or sport suspension. However, it's very stable, and it's good. For being a 3-row family SUV, this is what you want, right? This is not a track SUV. This is not a track car. This is not a sports car. This is what it's supposed to be. Acceleration is good. I mentioned about that 6.6 0 to 60. So I just accelerated from about 20 to 60. That was good. Those numbers don't lie. This actually feels pretty brisk. What's also a big improvement is sound installation. I mean, it is very quiet inside this Pathfinder. I mean, these days, almost all modern cars are much quieter than before. But this Pathfinder is really quiet. It's almost like luxury car quiet. I don't hear anything from the wind, and today is actually a really windy day. All these cars passing by, barely anything. Road noise, nothing. So Nissan did a really good job with sound installation, and even from the engine, you know, it's a lot quieter simply because there's no CVT drone, right? That's so much better. CVT drone was just always a problem with Nissans, especially the Pathfinder. It's like anytime you floor it, accelerate at all, you get that like it's an endless drone. That is gone. That is gone. Now, what about the technology? Well, that's where this Pathfinder really shines, and it should because it's a 2022 model. I mentioned about those cameras that you see on the outside. So, of course, there's a camera button, and whenever you go in reverse, you do get a 360 view of what's around your Pathfinder, of course, a view of what's behind you. And what's great is the resolution is really high, because I've tested other Nissans with the same setup, and the resolutions was just like not good. It's dark, and you can't get a good view of what's around you because the resolution is so low. And this one, you don't have that problem. It's really high res, so it's a really good system. Also, as soon as you step into this Pathfinder, you notice 2 giant screens. All Pathfinders come with an 8-inch infotainment screen that's touchscreen, but on the upper trims like the SL and the Platinum, you get a 9-inch screen. And also in this Platinum, you do get this digital gauge cluster. It's a 12-inch screen that replaces your gauge cluster, and I like it. And I think this interface is really cool. It's really edgy, futuristic, and you'll notice that your miles per hour and your tachometer and speedometer are like vertical at an angle. So it's actually really unique looking. And inside, in the middle, you have a big view. You have essential stuff like your temperature, your speed, your clock, but you can rotate between many different screens. For example, your safety system, your navigation, your audio settings, and a combination of view, also your trip computer. You get all that. And it's really bright in your face. And I just like the interface. It just looks good. I like it. Now, as for the new infotainment screen, well, I think it's a big upgrade versus the last generation. The resolution is good. You get that nice glossy screen, which may be prone to fingerprints, but The interface definitely works better, although it's not perfect. It's not class leading. There's still lag. A lot of times when I'm scrolling through, there's still lag, but it is a big improvement. And also underneath, you do have some physical buttons, so in case you didn't want to go all touch, that is fine. That's fine. And of course, you still have the volume and audio or tune knobs, so they're still there. Now, because it's a platinum trim, you do get heated and ventilated seats, dual climate control. Also, you get power folding mirrors, 2 memory seats, a wireless charger, and of course, plenty of ports up front. This Pathfinder does have a lot of USB ports, which is great for families. Now, this Pathfinder unfortunately comes with a new style shifter, which takes getting used to. You have to remember to hold a button, otherwise you're not actually engaging in reverse or drive. So you have to remember that, and there is a dedicated button for park, which unfortunately you do have to press every time you park. So right now, and this Pathfinder comes with different driving modes. Most Pathfinders are front-wheel drive standard. However, you can equip all of them with all-wheel drive. By scrolling this drive mode selector, you could go from auto to eco to sport to towing, and then you could go into snow, mud, rut, and sand. So there's a lot of modes. Depending on what you're trying to do or where you're trying to go, the system will automatically tune the traction control and all-wheel drive system for you. And finally on top, you do have HomeLink buttons and a giant panoramic sunroof. So as you can see from a technology standpoint, this Pathfinder is pretty well loaded. Something else that you get inside this platinum trim is a heads-up display, which I have a hard time capturing with my GoPro. So I'm just gonna splice in a picture here. It's nice. It's not too in your way. It's a little bit down low. Of course, you could adjust it. Your miles per hour, your speed limit, those all come up. If there's something that comes up in your blind spot or anything like that, and navigation directions, they also show up. So pretty standard, also something that you can get inside a Pathfinder. Now this Nissan Pathfinder also gets the latest and greatest safety system, part of the Nissan 360 Shield, and you pretty much get everything you could think of. So emergency braking up front and warning, lane assist and lane warning if you're swerving out, rear cross traffic alert, speed sign recognition, right? It'll tell you if you're getting drowsy. This Pathfinder could also drive by itself pretty much. It does have features where it combines all these things together. So you have semi-autonomous driving, especially on the highway. It'll keep you within the lane, like smack in the middle, and also keep a good distance from the car ahead of you, right? So it pretty much can drive by itself. So you no longer have to get a Tesla for that. Now, as for trim levels and pricing, there's 4 trim levels to this brand new Pathfinder. The base is the S, then you have the SV, SL, and the range topping Platinum, which is what I'm driving today. Now, the S starts around $34,000, $35,000, which is in line with the competition, maybe even slightly lower. However, if you get to the Platinum, the price jumps up significantly, starting at $47,000, and it could top out over $50,000 depending on how you configure it. So it really depends on if you want all the niceties I talked about today, or you just want the basic essentials. So to sum up, this 2022 Nissan Pathfinder is a huge improvement over the last generation in every single way that you could think of. The exterior look, in my opinion, is a lot more masculine, aggressive, has been modernized. Inside, without a question, way, way better. From the fit and finish, to the material, to the leather in here, to the technology, the screens, and everything else I've mentioned, right? Big upgrade. And also, in terms of how this Pathfinder drives, really different, even with the same engine. But because of the new transmission, it makes a world of difference, a world of difference. And in terms of cargo room, in terms of passenger room, I mean, this Nissan Pathfinder has been upgraded in every single way. The new Nissan Pathfinder is definitely a competitor within the 3-row midsize SUV segment. So if you're shopping for one, you definitely should check one out now. All right, thanks for watching. Smash all the likes, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for my future videos. Take care. Bye-bye.